This part includes a short introduction about the outcome of the Assyrian conquest of the Levant and the geopolitical situation during the second half of the 8th century and the first half of the 7th century BCE, as the essential background for the understanding of the history of Judah when it was conquered by the Babylonians. The Assyrian conquest of the Levant shaped its geopolitical and administrative character for generations to come. Tiglath-Pileser III, who ruled between 745 and 727 BCE, set the foundations for the Assyrian administrative organization and shaped the geopolitical situation for most of this area. Tiglath-Pileser III conquered the strongest and largest kingdoms in the region, causing them heavy destructions. He deported large part of the population, replacing them with exiles from remote regions, and annexed their territory to Assyria, turning the destroyed kingdoms into Assyrian provinces. Tiglath-Pileser's success in annihilating the power of the Syrian kingdoms and abolishing the national distinctions of their population can be demonstrated by the fact that no independent political entity developed in the conquered Assyrian areas in the next centuries, nor was there any military threat to the rule of the Egyptian, Babylonian, or Persian empires. After the Assyrian conquest, the population in those areas didn't demonstrate anymore any national distinction. This state of affairs enabled the Assyrian Empire and then the Egyptian, Babylonian, Persian empires and even the Seleucid dynasty to control these regions and exploit their economic, commercial, and strategic potential. This process continued during the 60 years after Tiglath-Pileser's rule, and the Assyrian Empire extended its rule over all the Levant. I would like to describe the arrangements that were fashioned by the Assyrians and that apparently were valid when the Babylonians and after them the Persians ruled the area. Judah was only a small part of this area, and in order to understand its history, it is essential to put it on the background of the entire region. As a starting point, I would like to emphasize an important point. It is clear that the arrangements made by Tiglath-Pileser III in the former areas of the Kingdom of Israel, the northern kingdom, north of Judah, existed until the rule of the Babylonian and the Persian empires. He conquered and established two provinces in the lands wrested from the Kingdom of Israel as early as 732 BCE. The province of Dor extended along the Mediterranean coast, and the province of Megiddo encompassed the upper and lower Galilee, the Bet Shean Valley, and the Jezreel Plain. After the destruction of the Kingdom of Israel, Sargon II annexed the rest of the territory to Assyria in 720 BCE and established a third province on it, the province of Samaria. The lands of this province consisted mainly of the Samarian hills, the heart of the former Kingdom of Israel. To the west of Judah and to the south of the province of Dor, in Philistia, the Assyrian arrangements had been established in the late 8th century BCE during the reign of Sargon II and afterwards during the reign of Sennacherib. Ashdod was an isolated Assyrian province among the vassal city-states in the region. North and south of Ashdod, the vassal city-states of Ashkelon, Ekron, and Gaza continued to maintain their existence. These city-states were strengthened territorially and economically under the reign of Assyrian kings, apparently because the kings recognized Philistia's strategic importance as the gateway to Egypt, as well as its economic importance. Ashkelon was an important port and central commercial hub, and a vast wine production industry thrived there as well. Ekron, an important center for the production of olive oil, was the main party to profit from the harsh blow dealt to Judah in Sennacherib's campaign in 701 BCE. Its growth during the 7th century BCE under Assyrian rule is connected directly to the weakening of the kingdom of Judah and the harsh damage to the territories of the kingdom in the Shephelah regions on Judah's western border. Gaza was the southernmost of the Philistine kingdoms and served as the major outlet port for merchandise that arrived from Arabian trade. During the reign of Tiglath-Pileser III and the early days of Sargon II, major Assyrian effort was focused on Gaza and on its surroundings because of their importance. Accordingly, it is not surprising that Gaza remained a loyal Assyrian vassal kingdom until the collapse of the Assyrian rule in the Levant. In Transjordan, to the east of Judah, the Transjordanian small kingdoms maintained their fealty to Assyria during the reign of Sennacherib and then in the reign of Esarhaddon and Ashurbanipal. The Assyrians had a cardinal economic and military interest in protecting the eastern frontier of their empire against nomadic onslaughts and in stabilizing the political system. Assyria provided protection to the inhabitants of the region and encouraged the production of the area's distinctive raw material. In addition, Assyria's protection helped develop the trade routes that transformed Transjordan into an important junction in Assyrian commerce with the Arabian tribes in the east and to the south. For the first time, the region's inhabitants were able to integrate into the imperial economic system, and this is evidenced by enormous development of the kingdoms in this area. This phenomenon was seen mainly in Edom, where archaeological finds show a wave of settlement in the 7th century BCE. The natural features of the region didn't allow for a growth of a kingdom prior to this era. However, its location on the roads leading to the Gulf of Eilat and Arabia, and from there to Gaza, brought about the great prosperity on which the kingdom was subsequently established. In Ammon, the archaeological data attest to extensive settlement and cultural prosperity under the Assyrian rule. The patterns of settlement and characteristic of the material culture in Moab are not clear like in Ammon, but probably it went through the same cultural and settlement prosperity, just like the other kingdoms in Transjordan. Coming to our main subject, Judah. Judah was a small peripheral mountainous kingdom within the political, economic, and military setup that existed in the region in the 7th century BCE. The intense trauma inflicted on the kingdom by Sennacherib campaign in 701 BCE had an awful consequences for all matters related to the Shephelah and led to a grave weakening of its military might and human resources. At the same time, Judah enjoyed the economic prosperity of the entire region under Assyrian rule in the first two-thirds of the 7th century BCE. The eastern and southern border areas, particularly the Negev and the Jordan Valley, integrated into the Assyrian and international commercial system and flourished both demographically and economically. I would like to end this short introduction about the outcome of the Assyrian conquest of the Levant and the geopolitical situation during the second half of the 8th century BCE with two more introductory notes, one geographical and one political. From the geographical point of view, we should differentiate between the coast and the hill country. The coast was much more important both from the military and the economic aspects, and it is clear that the Assyrians spent much more efforts in this region than in the hill country. It is also clear that the coast was much more urban in its nature, and because of all the above, was much more problematic for ruling and with many more historical events. From the political point of view, the Assyrian Empire was based on two main different systems. direct rule over provinces by governors and officials, and indirect rule over vassal kingdoms by a very complex system of political and economic agreements, inspectors, and a lot of dynamic changes according to the development and interests of the empire in each period and in each kingdom.